Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Gimpy, and I'm here with the next part of my review through covering Enemy Actions Ardennes by Compass Games. Gotta say, I love this game. I really do love this game. Before we get started back into it, make sure that you take and subscribe and comment on my giveaway video for this month. If you haven't, enter for your chance to win a copy of Mets 18 something. I forget the exact date. I want to say 1870. By GMT Games. I'll be giving that away here in just a few days, so make sure you take and enter for your chance to win if you haven't already. All you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment on that video, not this video, on that video, and you will be good to go. Alright, so let's get started. I got myself zoomed in here on our previous battle because I want to address a couple things that I goofed on real quick. Some special rules that take effect on day 16. Day 16, if you guys will remember, has special rules, and it's the first day. Basically, the allied guys, like I said, are caught unaware, and I did a bridge demo check here. There's a little bridge icon right here crossing this river, and I wasn't supposed to do that. You do not do the bridge demo checks on the first day. So this bridge is actually not destroyed, and the roadblock check that I did here actually did not need to be done, and you do the roadblock checks. All right, that's day 16 and on. The bridge demolition 17 and on, roadblock check 16 and on. But for the roadblock check, I didn't have to check this one because one of the conditions is that it has no units adjacent to it. It has to be a position with a hold value, which is our orange number there in the circle, and it's got a road in it, and it has no adjacent units besides the moving unit. And this was the moving stack here as they moved up against it. If this unit had been eliminated instead of just disrupted, then I would have done the check on it. Or if this thing had a hold value of 5 or 6. So if it has a hold value high enough, then you'll still do the check if it's got units adjacent. But in our specific situation that we encountered here, there was no need. So no need to worry about a roadblock or a bridge demo check in this specific situation. Let's back up here for a sec. Back out so you guys can see what I'm pointing at. I'm getting ready to take and do my next set of attacks. And if you guys remember, like I said, there are 9 cards in your hand at the start of this impulse because you get starred extra cards, and you have to spend 10 action points, which is our little number right there. So I've got it all laid out, and I've got 3 more attacks that I'm going to do. Let's see how we're going to do this. Okay, let's back the camera out enough. I accidentally hit the camera button. Okay, so I'm going to have one attack up here in one of my SS divisions, and then one of them here in this lower, which one is this? 5th Panzer Army, and then one here with the 45th Corps. Yeah, I got that one right. So I'll tell you what, which one should we start with? Let's take and just start at the bottom and work our way up. So we'll start here and we'll hit this attack, and then the top attack. We'll run through an allied card, let you guys see how that's going to work, and then I'll give you some final thoughts on the game. Okay, I got my attacks set out, ready to go here, and I'm going to take and just throw the image of the cards up here on screen for you guys to make it easier for you guys to see, rather than me holding them up. But what I am doing is I am playing this 7th Panzer Army 45th Corps card to activate all of these pink gray units here, and they're going to be attacking this unit here in this hex, part of the 28th 28th division of the 8th Army of the Allies. And I'm only having one stack that's able to attack because remember, I cannot move on this first impulse unless I play a reinforce battle card tactic that I'm actually going to do here. You guys will see that. It's going to be a neat little tactic that I'm going to do. And the problem is I'm attacking across a river, so my attack strength is halved. So even with everything, let's see, that's 9. So technically I should have 3 to 1. but I'm getting halved, so that's 4.5, so that's 4, so it's basically 1-to-1 odds. That's just, oh, it's no good. I don't even know if I should do this attack. Yeah, we'll do it anyway, just to spend the cards, because it's not going to matter. We'll do it to just see how badly this attack goes. Because sometimes you'll have a smaller attack like this that does well, and then sometimes you'll have an attack like this that gets blown out the water. So what I am doing is I'm playing this card to start them, okay, to activate them, and then the other card is not being played for its value. It's being played for its infantry infiltration tactic, which makes it to where this is considered a flank attack, even though I'm only attacking from one hex. So it makes it like I'm attacking them from multiple hexes surrounding them to give myself a little bit of a bonus. Just like if I played artillery or air power or something like that, it gives me an extra chance to hit these guys when we're doing our combat chit draws. I hate this, attacking across a river. So many of my attacks are having to be across the river. This one's going to have to be across the river as well. And that halves your combat strength when you're having to do that. All right, but our two cards here are 4 command value, okay? And if you guys remember from the previous video, we had spent 2. Let me make sure that's in camera. Yeah, that's in camera. I had already spent 2, so this puts us up to 6 of the 10 we have to spend on this first impulse. Now, my next card is going to be a command value of 3, which will put me at 9. That's, let's see. Yeah, actually, I have to do it in a separate order. We're not going to do our bottom up. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to do our yellow guys up north, the SS. And then we're going to come back down to this one, because the SS card is worth 3, and that will put me up into a command value of 9. And then I can play one more set of cards to complete this impulse. And I'm going to spend a big whopping 5 command points on my last attack with this group by using the reinforced battle. That way, I'll effectively be spending 14 command points and get that extra kind of jab into them. If I had done it in a different way, I might not get that extra attack in. So make sure you keep track of that, of how many of your command points you're spending and what order you're spending them in, because that does matter. If you spend them in the right order, you can hit a extra big attack there at the end. So let's focus on our attack here and see what kind of modifiers we're going to get. Let me grab my little player aid. We are attacking this little 28th Division here. They have 2 steps, so that means our minimum draw, let me grab my dice. Minimum draw is going to be 2. Let's mark that down on my little dice. So we're at 2 right now. We do not have any elites, I don't believe. No, these guys are not elite. Oh, and these guys are Fallschirmjäger. Huh, that's neat. Fallschirmjäger, if you don't know, it's the German paratroopers. All right, so we've got 2 no elites. And we're playing 1 combat tactic. That gives us another. We've got 3 units that are competing or attacking, so that gives us 3. So we're up to 4 more. And I don't think there's anything else. See, all these are 2-step units, so none of those are getting me a bonus. He's not out of supply. He's not isolated. And they're not playing any tactics right now. Okay. I wish I could get one more draw, because it could give me a large attack, but it does not look like there's anything I can do in this situation to get any more draws. So unfortunately, I'm going to be stuck at 6. If you guys remember, if I could get it up to 7, that constitutes a large attack and can get me a bonus when I'm doing my little chit draws here. So let me step aside to my little cup, and when we get ready to start drawing, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to do all 6. Ooh, I forgot to do my combat odds, which unfortunately, we'll set that there, is going to be 1-to-1, because again, I've got 9 combat value, but it's halved coming across the river. So I've got 4.5 rounded down to 4. 4-to-3 is effectively 1-to-1 odds. So that's not doing good for me. So we'll draw our 2 to start this out and see what we get. All right, here's 1, And 2. All right. Oh, look at this. I drew the large attack shit. Damn. Okay, so definitely not 9-1, and it's not 5-1. Make sure you guys can see that. So that's not going to apply. And it's not a large attack. And the allies do not have allied air power. This G1 instead of an A1 or A2 or something like that, that means the Germans will take a hit. That's what that specifically says. So if it's a G, it's Germans. If it's a U, it's US. So neither of those are going to apply. We'll do 4 more combat chits to do the draws on these to see what we get. Remember, now if we draw a blue chit, we're going to take all those previous ones we drew on our previous attacks and immediately throw them in. And 1 more. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we got. Does the attacker have artillery? No. Does the defender have artillery? No. What we have here, attacker elite? No. Is the attacker green? No. Oh, well, this is going to be such a wasted attack. Is the attack greater than or equal to 1.5-1? No. Because what would I need? Do the math on that. I would need... What's 4.5? Yeah, it is equal. Technically, it is equal to that. I'm doing the rounding. But I am at 4, technically 4.5 to 3. So that is 1.5-1. So yeah, this is actually going to stay. And what's the backside of this? Less than 1-1. No. So we'll take that. And allied air power, no, they don't. And you guys can see that's a bad one. G2, I would take 2 hits on that. German air power. So you see how it's US 1, they would take a hit. And unfortunately, I don't have air power. It would have been nice to have that tactic. So this was just one big wasted attack. When I played through this off camera, because I played a game off camera before I started filming it, this lower attack did excellent when I had plotted that out. But it did not work well here. So we each took 1 hit. And in the video, the previous video, someone had mentioned about it. I was a little overzealous on my previous attack here up north when I was assigning the hits. I do need to be a little slower when I'm putting those down. Let me grab my player aid here and make sure I go through them step by step. Again, we do our attacker second, but I'm going to take and do the attacker first, because if I don't, I will forget to do my attacker. Let's see, which one of these do I want to do it? Looks like they all have the same stats, so we'll flip this guy over. Unfortunately, I have to take and try to boost him up later. And this guy's taking 1 ding. And if we go down our little assigning hits to allied units, let's see here. Apply hits 1 at a time per the first of the following. If the defending unit has already retreated 2 hexes, it has not. If the hits are greater or equal to the steps in the defending unit, retreat 1 hex. If losing a step would cause the defending unit to exert no zone of control, retreat 1 hex. So I think that's really going to make the difference. Okay, so they are definitely going to retreat instead. So they're going to pull down into here following their little line of retreat. And let's see, I could only send 1 unit across to follow if I advance, and the attackers did not disperse. They advance into the regardless, but since it's a blown bridge, I can only advance 1 unit. Screw it. We'll take an advance 1 unit. Why not? Get someone across. That way we can persist with the attack later. Where's my little set of tweezers here? Because I think they should have, if they ever do like a reprinting of this, they really should come up with a different way to take and annotate blown bridges, whether it's a small cube, some other half-sized counter, something like that, because these really just get in the way. Honestly, they're in the way everywhere they are. since they're not stacked on top of things. So it would be much better if they had somewhere else to go with that. It's a minor gripe, but it is a little bit of a pain in the ass. Okay, so let's take and mark our units as attack complete. And again, this is something that I do to help myself remember that I've attacked with these units and I can't activate them in the following impulse, just to make sure I don't take it and make that goof. So that completes our attack with the 7th Panzer Army of the 45th Corps. These Fallschirmjägers did not do too good, but considering they were attacking across a river and blown bridge, they didn't do too bad. Let's back the camera up so I can show you guys a little something here. You guys can see on these two cards, one has the black primary and one has the supplement, or this is a supplemental card since it's not considered primary. They get discarded into two separate piles. This one will be available on the next turn. This one won't. It'll get shuffled through, and then on the following, it'll get available again. So let's take and move now. I'm going to take and pan us up north, and we're going to take and do our Panzer Division and see how they do. All right. We're ready for our next attack. I went ahead and got my numbers figured out off camera to save a little bit of time here. And you guys can see I've just got one card laid out for the 1st SS Panzer Corps of the 6th Panzer Army. So that's this whole group of yellow guys up here. And again, I can't move them, but I've got one allied unit here adjacent to 3 of them. And he does have an improved position, so I've got that kind of set off to the side. So I've got a flank attack onto him since I'm attacking from 3 different hex sides against this guy. 4-to-1 odds. I went ahead and figured that out. It came out, what was it, 14 to 3 or something like that. So I was 1 off. But I do have elite units attacking, so it's going pretty well. 9 combat chit draws total, 2 minimum for the steps that are in the hex, and then I've got 6 units and an elite there giving me 1 other extra bonus. So not too bad, all things considered, in what I'm doing. You guys can see this is a big corps, so their command card is a 3-point value in spending. Like I said, I had spent 6 up to now, and the reason I switched this up instead of doing the other group first is so I can spend this one, get myself to 9 points spent, and then on my last set of cards, it doesn't matter how many I spend. I know I'm going over my limit for the impulse, so I can spend as many as I want in that last action that I do. I already know that, so I saved my biggest attack for last. Otherwise, I would be short one of these attacks. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have done the Fallschirmjägers down there because they didn't really do that good. But I'm hoping my SS division will do a little bit better. But we'll see how the combat chits end up panning out. Remember that we are still looking for one of those blue ones, because as soon as I draw it out, that's why you got to draw them one at a time. As soon as the blue one hits the table, that's when all the others go immediately back into the cup. So let's shuffle these up a little bit. I'm going to draw my first 2 and see what we get. Here's 1 and 2. Let's see what happens with these. Let's see. This is dispersed or unsupplied. That is not accurate. Defender adjacent. Nope. So, only attacker has armor. They've got a mechanized unit. I'm going to say that counts as armor. Yeah, that's mechanized. That's armor. So that does not apply. Only defender has armor. Nope, that doesn't apply. So our first 2 do not apply. How many am I going to draw? We're going to do all 7. Screw it. We're going big or we're going home. So we're going to draw these out. And I'm expecting to draw one of these blue ones here in a sec. So we'll have to see how that goes. All right, here's first one, second one, third one, fourth one. Still haven't got one yet. I'm not looking. You guys can't see me, but I'm just digging out of the bowl. All right, so I need 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Still no blues. They're still in there. Okay, so let's organize these and see what we got. Here, first one. Crossfire, no. Dispersed, unsupplied, no. It looks like a lot of these are just not counting. Attacker elite, yes, that finally applies. Is it a city? No, that is not a city. That is actually some of that west wall crap. Forest woods are broken. Is it? I think that's broken. Yeah, that's that broken terrain. Yeah, because the west wall, it's on a west wall hex, but it's broken underneath, so it counts as broken. So unfortunately, we just wiped out the hit that we got on them. Damn. Greater or equal to 5 to 1? No. Is it less than 3 to 1? No. Damn. Greater than or equal to 8 to 1? Oh, good God. Wouldn't that be great? D3. But nope. Less than 3 to 1? No. This thing's going to be a friggin' wash. Is it a city or town? No. Is... Shit. Oh, no matter what, it's a wash. Greater than or equal to 7 to 1? No. Flank attack? Yes. Oh my good grief. I didn't even knock the friggin'... You know what? I got the little beep thing. Mother... Ugh. I did not even knock the improved position off these little butt nuggets. Because D1, D-1, D-1, D1. It came out to a wash. No one took any damage at all. That massive attack that I threw at them did jack and shit. You gotta be kidding me. But I'll tell you what, it's one of the big reasons that I like this game is because you can have situations like that where the underdog prevails. It's like having a 60-sided die that can account for things like terrain and battle tactics that are being played and adjacency and flanking and all this other shit. It can account for so many things. This chip pull mechanic is what really, in my mind, takes this game to the next level. It's still great. I mean, the tactics are there, but knowing that no matter how prepared you are, the battle can still turn against you, even if you have overwhelming odds. It's a neat thing. And it can do that in your favor, too. You know, you can have an underwhelming attack or, you know, have an overwhelming attack against yourself and you pull it out against all odds. So, all right, let's take and get this cleaned up. We'll pan down and we'll do our last attack and see how that goes. Okay, here we go on our last attack. I didn't go ahead and move the units because I wanted you guys to see the little crap that I'm pulling here. Now I've got these 2 cards laid out here to the right. I'll throw them on screen for you guys. That shows what I'm doing. And again, I had spent 9 command points up to this point, and I'm playing this card to activate this Panzer Corps here, the purple one. 3 command points. That goes ahead and puts me over. I'm already at 12, but I can still play combat tactics. And I'm playing this one for the reinforced battle so I can move a stack of units during this little attack. That puts me over. At that point, I'm at 14 command points spent for the impulse. So when I'm done with this activation, it's going to be the allies' turn. They're going to draw a card and then start activating, reinforcing, doing all that type stuff that they do at that point. I went ahead and figured out the odds. We'll go over them here in just a second. And what I'm doing is I'm attacking this allied unit here, part of the same army that these other guys I've been attacking down here. I'm kind of trying to widen the hole that I've already got created here. And I'm attacking across a river with 2 stacks. And I know you're going, well, 2 stacks, where's the other one? Because this guy is on the ally side. What I'm doing is I'm moving this guy out of the way and putting this stack over here. So he's basically going 2 movement points and then 3 movement points into that hex. And this guy's going 2 movement points, 3, 4, and then 5 down into here. So this stack attacking across, this stack attacking across, and then this guy attacking from this side. Unfortunately, since I am attacking across a river with these 2 big stacks, their attack power is halved. So even with all 7 of these units attacking, I only have a combat power of 5. So it's like, but it is a 5-to-1. I mean, excuse me, because I'm at 15 combat value versus their 3. If it wasn't for the halving, I'd be at something like 9-to-1 or some shit. But it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. I do have some elite units. I've got a flanking attack. I've got a combat tactic. So my total chit pool is 11. Minimum is 2 for the defending unit here. And then I've got 7 units, 1 combat tactic, and some elite guys here with these red dots. So that's where I'm getting all my extra chit pulls. We'll take and start pulling these out, and we'll see how this goes. My bowl's actually getting a little empty at this point because I got a huge stack that I've already pulled. I haven't pulled a blue one yet. Okay, so first one here, and then the second one. Yeah, I still haven't pulled a blue one. Okay, attacker artillery. And remember, normally you would be pulling a card for the allies to see if they've got a undetected defender or if they're getting combat tactic. You do not do that on this first impulse. All right. Again, you're catching the allies flat-footed. So that's where you would be getting stuff like artillery or air power for the allies. I do not have artillery, and the defender does not have artillery. And greater than equal to 7-to-1. Oh, that would be nice. I mean, look at that. A-1 and D2 for them. Nope. Is it greater than or equal to 4-to-1? Yes. So that's going to stay. Now, I have 9 total left I can pull. Should I pull all 9? Well, let's see. If I pull at least 7 total. So if I do 5 more, it's a big attack. I'll tell you what, we'll do lucky number 7. Make sure that's still in camera for you guys. I'm right there, close to the top of it. Okay, so let's draw 7 more and see what we get. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. I'll stop at that point, and that whole stack gets thrown back in now. Shuffle those around, and let's see, I need 3 more. And 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now we're good. So we've got this one that's affecting us. Let's see. Is it a flank attack? Yes. And that's also a flank attack chit, so yes. Is it artillery? No, we already know that there's no artillery on either side. What's this blue one? Is it the 5th Panzer Army or an allied attack? It is the 5th Panzer Army. So that counts. Nice. And greater than equal to 7-to-1? Nope. Flank attack. Is that on the back of that? Yeah. Flank attack. Yeah, I got 3 flank attacks going. Nice. I am not attacking into a city. Is it town, forest, or woods? It is not town, forest, or woods, so that's not going to help them. City or town, negative. Town, forest, or woods, or forest, woods are broken. It is broken, so they're getting a -1. Bastards! Oh! If they hadn't got that -1, I'd eliminate them outright. Oh! The 5 hits would have been enough to just obliterate them, because I'd need to take and get one to knock the thing off and then the rest. But as it is, I don't think it... Wait, no, I think I still did get them, because I got 4 through. Oh, this might work. I think this might work. All right, so let's count it out here. We'll move these out of the way. This is going to cancel that hit, so we've got 4 more to go. That's 1. Retreat, 1, 2. Nope, that's right. Because of that, I'm going to be left in a similar situation to what the other one was. So let's grab our thing out. More than likely, it's going to retreat 2 hexes and become dispersed. But let's make sure we do this here in the right way. Okay. if hits are greater than steps in defending units, retreat 1 hex. All right, so hits are greater than steps, so they're going to retreat 1 hex. That's going to take care of 1. Hits are still greater than steps, so they're going to retreat again. And at this point, they're going to become dispersed. And now they have retreated as far as they can go. I don't think I knocked that off. So they're going to... Well, I got 2 hits left. That's going to take them off because 1 and then 2. So I might have messed up something there on it, but if I did, oh well, it's not that big of a deal. It's just one little allied unit getting obliterated at this point. So we'll take and move these. I can't remember if I forgot to pull one of those off, one of the hits off for one of the retreats. Oh well, don't worry about it. You guys were watching the video, so if I did mess that up, I'm sure someone will put it in the comments because I've never made a video where I made a mistake that someone didn't so gloriously point that out to me. All right, so let's back it up a little bit and see about the Allied Impulse. Okay, and one last thing as far as this is concerned, I've got my little markers on them. I had a couple of guys who moved up. Again, the whole blown bridge thing slowed me down, but having 2 hex sides to cross, I could have a couple of the tank units move up. And now, since there is no adjacent unit and there is a hold position here, now I have to take and roll to see if a roadblock is formed. So see what we get. Nope, no roadblock. That is a good thing. I do not want any roadblocks. But you guys can see how now the whole position didn't have any adjacent units besides the units that moved up adjacent to it. And this bridge was already blown, so there wouldn't have been a check for it anyway. But you guys can see it's right here in between these 2 hexes is where this blown bridge marker is, but there's really no good place to put it, you know? They really should have come up with something else because it's just hard. You're constantly bumping your counters when you're trying to do that, and it's just a little irritating. Not horribly, but a little. Oh, let me mark my units up here that did activate for my panzers to remember that they are not going on the next impulse. Even though they did jack and squat, they basically just waved at the allied units. So you guys can see in this first impulse, I activated this whole little line of units here, but I've got like half my troops left to do attacks with on the next impulse. But it does make it to where you've got to take and kind of flip back and forth, and you can't focus in on one really good set of units and just keep trying to slam them through. Like this purple set here and that yellow set, they're both big cores. They could do a lot of damage. And it would be great to just keep activating them and just slam through the allies as far as you can go. But anyway, now that we have finished our impulse for the first impulse, we've gone over our command value. And that's going to rotate based on days. This is what the command value is that you need to reach to before the allies will get an impulse. And after you finish your impulse and the allies get a turn, you go back and forth until your draw pile is done. Once your draw pile is done, then that's the completion of the day, and that's when you shuffle all your cards. But let's take and draw a card for our allies, and we've got ourselves a no command. So for this first day, this means they're not going to do anything. We'll throw this in the discard. Let's draw another card to talk about it, though. All right, so this one, the U.S. Third Army, this is a corps. You can see their cards are very similar to the German cards. And what you're going to do is you're going to go down this list until you get to one of those things you do. Once you've done one of them, it goes back to your impulse. So if we deployed all the core reserves, and there's actually a special rule here on the first turn, the first impulse, that on day 16, the allies, if they're deploying all the reserves in a corps, they would not deploy all. They would deploy one. So for these guys, they could take and deploy one of the units that are in this corps. There's actually one in the reserve box now, and you would throw it somewhere on the board, meeting certain requirements like hold positions, not adjacent to other allied units, things of that nature. And we can take and throw one down here. Let's take and throw them. Let's see. There we go. We'll go here. Just throw them down. And that's just me kind of randomly picking a spot. We'll zoom in just a bit. That's me just kind of randomly picking a spot. That's probably not the optimal place to put it for game purposes, but it's me just showing you how the game is going to work, right? That's how you're going to get reinforcements. Now, on a normal turn, right? Normal turn, instead of this day 16 where you're only deploying one, you would deploy all the units that are part of this core onto the board. Any of the ones that are in the reserve box would take and come out here during that point. If you couldn't do that, you could expedite them, which means that units in this core that are up in our calendar space that are up to 2 days ahead, they can come down into the reserve box, and basically they're hitting the board faster. Let's see what else we got. Assign RP, that's replacement points, so that's kind of flipping counters back over to their full side. And then activate all units in the core. When you get down to here, that's where you're taking and actually moving the units, attacking with them, things of that nature. So you can see they're going to bring more units on the board first on a lot of their cards before they're taking in attacking. All right, so you'll check these first steps and then you'll take and go down to them. Once you take and draw one of those cards and you do activate them, you'll draw 3 of these action cards and you'll adjust them by lowest. So let's see, these numbers up in the top right, 1, 19, 21. And then it'll tell you what to do. Like for this first one, for example, whatever, say it was the 8th core there that's being activated. So this little group of guys here, any of them with a unit number between 27 and 1, and you would start with a higher number. So you would start with 27 and work your way down to 1. They would take a unit proximate to an empty position in which a German unit is also proximate, position with hold value less than 5, may not be in another allied zone of control. And then it tells you the action is move to the position. If there's more than one choice, move to the highest hold value, and then fewest MPs required. So you see these action cards tell you what the allied units are going to do, and you'll take and go through this, and then you'll go through the other cards. And it's very similar to how you're doing on your units. Once you've activated them, right, they're not going to go again. So if you do something on one action card for some of these units, then you're not going to take and do something on one of the following action cards. And same with second action card, third action card, whatever it is. So you keep kind of going through your potential options until you take and find an option that works for whatever unit it is, and you perform that action. Once you've completed all 3 of the cards, it again goes back to your impulse. So you can see you're either going to take and, do something like deploy reserves, or you're going to draw action cards for specific units depending on what core, what division, what group of units of the command card that you drew for, and then you're going to take and play out those guys. So it's kind of neat. The game plays back at you, and the decisions that you make, it's going to respond to. I like how they came up with that proximate ruling. It took me a little while to kind of get my head around it. And proximate, like I said in the previous video, was a unit can move to it in one movement, right? So you have to figure out for movement points how much it's going to cost to take and move to whatever place. But if they can move to that place in one movement, then they're considered proximate. And that's going to be taken into consideration into a lot of the actions. And then on top of that, of course, they're trying to keep their line pretty much from the top of the board to the bottom of the board covered. They're going to try to keep it to where there's not gaps in the line, just like a regular military unit would do. And right now I've got a gap, so the cards are going to play to the effect of trying to fill that gap and keep me from being able to keep punching a hole through there. It is really neat how the game plays back. At this point in the game, I would take and draw 6 more cards from my little stack of cards, and then continue playing out as I had been playing that I've showed you guys. The 6 cards that I would be drawing now, I could activate units that do not have my little yellow beads on them. Okay. Once I got done with that impulse, these first set would come off, and then the ones that I'd activated this turn would have, the yellow beads on them. So that's how it kind of goes back and forth. Like I explained to you, that you're not going to take and activate units and impulse back to back to back to back to back. I'm going to end the review through here. You guys, I think I've shown you guys enough on how the game's going to work, how it's going to play back at you, especially how you're going to be controlling your own troops. And like I said in the start, in the first video, this game is complex. It is deep. It takes a little while to get your head around it. You really have to get the concepts in your mind of how certain things work, especially, proximate, and how the allied units are going to react to you, the hold positions on the board. A lot of it really comes down to the minutia, especially if you're playing the first turn, day 16, that has so many special little rules to it when it comes to bridge demo and roadblocks and things of that nature. And the fact that there's, German congestion, and you can only move one unit across a bridge there at the start, and you're not allowed to move during your first impulse. Now when I draw cards and start doing stuff, I can actually move my units. But I did have that first impulse to kind of hit them with jabs, do as much damage as I could. And I did okay. I knocked one unit off the board and moved a couple of them back a little bit. I moved a couple of them back, and one of them stood in the face of overwhelming SS fire and laughed. You gotta give that credit. For me, this game is a overwhelming absolute recommend for anyone who is into solo war games, especially hex-based solo war games. The combination of command cards and the chit draw mechanic for combat really does take this to another level. John Butterfield is a genius when it comes to it. It's absolutely complex, no question about it. I think Fields of Fire is by GMT is harder than this. This one I just think is a little easier to get your head around. Maybe it's because it's not as abstracted as Fields of Fire is. It is up there, but once you get your head around it, and I'm by no means an expert, all right? I've played through it a handful of times, and I'm sure I've still made mistakes here or there on it, but it is a excellent game that really does feel like it plays back at you thanks to the command cards and how they work. To me, it feels like, all right, the lock and load tactical games, how they have a set of solo cards that kind of instructs the game on what to do. It feels like that almost stepped up a notch, because that one, it has to be generalized because it's for so many different game modules. This, it can be very specific. There's a lot of indicators on the map of what's going to happen, whether it's retreat routes or hold positions or cities or things of that nature. And because of that, it feels like it plays back at you a little more than the generic solo cards. Now, I'm not saying those are bad, but this just feels like it's better. It's more complex and it's harder to learn because of that. But once you kind of understand what's going on with it, it really does give you that feel of someone playing a hex and counter based war game back at you. And especially with the amount of, up there in the corner up in the calendar, units that come on the board, there's plenty to take and fill in. Even if you smash everything there at the front, there will be other allied units to take and fill in the gaps to, slow you down as you're pushing across. And it's not an easy game to win. You're going to have to do well at it. It's like, I've heard a lot about D-Day at Omaha Beach. I haven't got that one to the table yet. It is definitely on my list after trying this, because I know Butterfield had his hand in that one too. After trying this, I really want to try that one. I know some of the people in the comments have been recommending it. If Omaha is anything like this, I guarantee I'm going to love it. But yeah, I'll stop yapping here. Let me say the only downsides to this game that I've come across is the fact that the counters, like I said in the first one, they are touch thin. Honestly, I like the counters. I think they're great. They fit in storage a lot easier. I don't have any problem with the cards. Cards do fine. I like the white core counters. Yeah, they could be a touch thicker for the amount that you pay for the game. And that's really honestly the biggest drawback. You're going to pay through the nose for this game at least 80, and that's like the cheap end. That's like if you're getting the game used, you probably get it 80. More than likely, it's going to cost you at least a bill to get it, and that's the biggest drawback. But you can think of it as you are getting 3 games in one. You're getting a 2-player game, and then you're getting 2 solo games that are different from each other, that operate off the same game system. Could they have gotten it cheaper? Yeah, I honestly would like to see this game at the 75 to 80 price point rather than the 100, 110, 120, depending on where you get it price point. If it were priced lower, it would be way up there in my book, but I would not let that slow you down from an excellent gaming experience. It really is one of my favorites, and if I had to redo my top 5 solo games right now, this game would be on the list. Hands down. It would be on the list. It would knock something off. So, yeah, absolutely get it if you can. I love the teetotal hell out of it. But I would recommend some type of marking system because there is none that comes with the game, just to help yourself remember what divisions and cores you've activated during your previous impulse. Yeah, you can just look at your cards that you played on the previous impulses to kind of keep track of it, but it is easier for me to have a visual representation there on the board. Anyway, I'm going to call it here for me on this one. That's going to conclude this review through. Like I said, you guys, make sure to check out my giveaway. We'll be done here in a few days, and I've got some other stuff lined up. I've got the video bootcamp series that I'm still churning away like mad at, working on. I've got some more DVG coming up for you guys. And I guarantee you I've got D-Day at Omaha as soon as I get my head around it, because after trying this, I want to try that one. You guys take care. I will see you in the next one.